Then the ever-prevalent orange ball of fire inches its way skyward over the ocean threshold to announce the arrival of a new day, Sunday, and the Daytona 500. 135,000 devotees of speed impacted into this multi-million-dollar theater in the round, the stage of which is now being set for the final act of Speed Week. Safety crews and officials are in position.
Tower 41.
Go ahead.
How you read me?
Coming in okay.
Tower scoring stand, are you ready?
10-4, scoring stand is ready.
52 to tower.
Go ahead, Bob.
828 secure.
I've got Graham Marshall ready down here. Let me know when you're ready to crank them up.
As officials around the Speedway make final checks on the complexities of a major communication system, drivers and crews ready themselves on pit row. Their machines reflect the long hours, days, and weeks spent in their preparation. Suddenly, the moment is here, and there is no more time.
Tower to 21.
Go ahead.
Anytime you're ready, sir.
10-4.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Roll them off, caution car. Second time by, Dick. Hold up the two fingers for him.
It's a thrill unequaled in any sport when a field of 44 of the finest cars and drivers in America move off pit row and onto the track to prepare for the start. Starting up front in the Chevy number 1 is the Alabama hero, Donnie Allison. A.J. Foyt in the Gilmore Chevy 51 starts alongside. The lion of stock car racing, Richard Petty, puts his number 43 Dodge in the 3rd spot. In the Holly Farm Chevy 11, one of racing's strongest competitors, Cale Yarborough. Last year's winner of this event, the Silver Fox, David Pearson. From Ellerby, North Carolina, Benny Parsons. Suddenly Richard Petty pulls out of the parade lap and heads for the pits.
We have a problem there. All right, who's got the 43 car? Hop up there and tell Richard to go to the tail end of the line now if he goes back out. Step up there and tell Richard personally to get on the end of the line.
Petty's problem is an overfill on oil. During the parade lap, the engine began smoking. Now his crew is trying to pump some out and get him back out before the start. They shove Richard and the Dodge out of the pits, but the field is on the tri-oval ready to take the green.
Now, boys, Paley, come on in the house.
All yours, Mr. Carter. Harold, get another one of them flags in. Tip's got one, that's all right. Don't let them break on me, Harold. Let her have it.
It's a beautiful start, but Petty came out of pit row in front of the field. He's dead last. In turn 2, it's Donnie Allison with the lead. Foyt is running second. Down the long back chute, they all jockey for position, with Yarborough and Pearson side by side for 3rd. Heading for turn 4, Donnie tries to stretch his lead, while Pearson in the Merc 21 passes Cale Lowe to grab 3rd. At the end of the first lap, it's Donnie Allison the leader. Foyt is second, Pearson 3rd, 11 Yarborough is 4th, with Bobby Allison and Benny Parsons in a door-handle duel for 5th. In turn 1, A.J. Foyt unleashes his Chevy 51 and moves up to challenge Donnie for the front spot. And the leaders are closing the gap on Petty. If they pass him, it'll put Richard down 1 complete lap. A spectacular 3 abreast charge down the back chute. Cale Yarborough puts his Holly Farms 11 in the low groove to try for the lead. On the front chute dogleg, it's evident that Foyt and company are definitely closing the gap on Petty.
I got a fire in that car. Yella, put it out, Harold. His hands are burnt. Come on, Joe, get up here and get down there. He's running down the pit road.
Bobby Warwick draws the first yellow of the day as he parks his Chevrolet against the inside retaining wall. Following work by the cleanup crews, Cale Yarborough brings the field down for the restart. Seconds after Cale takes the green flag, A.J. Foyt drops his Gilmore Chevy 51 underneath him to take over the lead in turn 1. It's a 190-mile-an-hour traffic jam down the back chute as Cale moves up to try Foyt, with Parsons, Marcus, and Pearson all going for second. While the front runners are swapping the lead, Richard Petty, who was in the back of the field on the restart, has been closing at a fantastic rate. Officials said he's running about 2 miles an hour faster than the leaders. Down the 4,000-foot-long back straightaway, Cale Yarborough proves he came here to race. He edges Foyt out to once again regain the lead. If lead changes mean anything, then this is the greatest racing in the world. It's unbelievable. Petty has moved from the rear of the field, and he's caught up with Bobby Allison driving the number 12 Matador. Richard is within striking distance of the leaders. However, the wind could now become a factor. Strong gusts are blowing across the track toward the back chute. Petty talked about high winds in turn 2 earlier.
There's a little bit of a hump coming off of number 2 just as you go onto the backstretch. And, you have to hit that just right, because if the wind's blowing across the track, it can push you into the wall. They have a lot of action in that particular place.
Then the miles, speed, and wind begin to take their toll. Pole sitter Donnie Allison blows a tire on the front chute. Another car blown into the wall. This time it's Terry Ryan in the Chevy 81. A.J. Foyt hits the Gilmore Chevy with tire problems. On lap 122, the second turn is again claiming its bid for the action spot on the Speedway. Buddy Baker and Salt Walter tangle with Dave Marcus in the Penske Mercury number 2.
All right, clean up one, take your records, clean up the mess, and pick up the wreck for me. Info.
When a yellow flag flies, it's time for fuel and rubber, and the only relief a driver gets from his 190-mile-an-hour game of concentration. Take a look at pit stops, Grand National style. Cars average 2 new tires, 20 gallons of fuel, a clean grill and windshield, and a drink for the driver in about 18 seconds. Then it's back to a green flag and flat out into turn 1, the fastest place on the track. Donnie Allison spoke about this.
I would say probably going into the first turn is the fastest place due to the fact that even though you have a turn in the middle of the front straightaway through the tri-oval, it doesn't really slow the car down.
Just to prove that Lady Luck doesn't always ride with the favorite, Richard Petty limps down pit row, goes behind the wall, and out of the race. A few laps later, David Pearson follows suit and also heads for the garage. While we don't yet know today's winner, we do know it won't be a finish like last year's. Remember last year, on the last lap, Pearson passed Petty on the back chute, then Richard came back to challenge. When they entered turn 4, the lid blew off. Spinning, screeching, crashing 1,000 feet. Richard Petty ending up a few scant feet from the finish line, unable to start his car, while David Pearson's Mercury, as battered and beaten as Petty's Dodge, limped through the infield dust and across the line to take home one of the most sensational wins in stock car racing history. Now, same place, 1 year later, and another shootout is in the making. A battle of Chevys. 11, Cale Yarborough. 72, Benny Parsons. Just a few laps from the finish, and all the stops have been pulled. One more lap. Benny Parsons is trying desperately, but Cale's car seems smoother and stronger down every foot of the racetrack. Buddy Baker in the Ford 15 is running third. Another Chevy 14, Cuckoo Marlin, is fourth. Parsons can't do it as Cale Yarborough comes screaming down off the fourth turn to put his Holly Farm Chevy 11 in the record books as the winner of the 19th annual Daytona 500. Victory Lane is a coveted piece of ground, owned by no man, shared by only a few. And for each, it's just a brief moment. It's the second time here for Cale, and the first was 9 years ago.
9 years is a long time. I'd almost forgot about the first one, but you know, this is almost an unbelievable week for me. I won everything they threw at me this week. I had 3 races to run, and we won them all 3. As far as I'm concerned, in 1968, when I won in Wood Brothers' car, I had a good race car. I won today in the best car on the racetrack.
Earnings for the week, $93,000.
Well, I think somebody should round it off to even 100.